Welcome to Lecto. Today we are going to discuss cervix. After watching this video, you will be able to understand all the concepts about the cervix. So let's get started. First of all, you should know the cervix is actually the part of the uterus. Uterus has three portions: body, or you can say corpse, isthmus, and the cervix. So actually the upper portion is actually the body of the uterus. Center region, after the body you will see the isthmus, and the last portion will be the cervix. Okay, and after that you will see the region of the vagina. So cervix has two opening: internal opening and the external opening. OS for opening. Okay, these are basically the two openings of the cervix. So we actually divide the cervix into two regions according to the vagina. The region that is above the vagina is called supravaginal portion, and the region that actually lie in the vagina is called the portiovaginalis. So if you see here, like this portion, after the internal opening, you will see here is the portion, and that portion is actually called the supravaginal portion. Here is the supravaginal portion. So if you see here that here is the cervix, and that part of the cervix actually lie in the vagina. Here is the situation. This part, here is this portion actually lie in the vagina. So that portion is actually called the portiovaginalis. Okay, because this segment, portio means segment, this segment of the cervix lie in the vagina, so that's why we call portiovaginalis. Supravaginal portion and the portiovaginalis. Here is the two portion or two parts of the cervix. So if we see the composition of the cervix, so three most important things you have to remember. First, you will see in the cervix you will see the fibrous connective tissue. Okay, smooth muscle. Actually main composition is smooth muscle, and peritoneal cord also present, but at the posterior side. So at the posterior side of the cervix you will see the peritoneal cord. Okay, that's very much important. So if you see that between the internal opening and the external opening there is a canal. So here is a canal, and that canal is actually called the endocervical canal. And in the endocervical canal you will see the specific texture, and that texture is called the arbor vitae uteri. So arbor actually, if you see here, arbor means that something related to the shelter that actually form in the parks, and vitae related to the life, and uteri means uterus, or you can say womb, in which you will see the growth of the baby. Okay, simply you can say arbor vitae uteri is actually the life of tree. So actually the texture, endocervical texture, is actually similar to the tree. So if you see here, actually it's a endocervical canal is similar is that. At the posterior and at the anterior side, if you see here, at the posterior, here is the posterior, here is the anterior. At the both sides you will see the ridge, and you will see the projectioning from the ridge, and these projections actually goes towards the lateral side, at both the lateral sides. So this is very much important. Now at the posterior and anterior you will see the ridge, and from the ridge you will see the projectioning, and this projection goes toward the lateral side, or simply is that it will just look like the tree or different branches of the tree. So that's why we call the arbor vitae uteri. This is the important thing. Next we will discuss the parts of the cervix. So first of all, endocervix. So endocervix, if you see here, the cervix that actually present inside is actually called the endocervix. The most important epithelium that is actually lie in the endocervix is the columnar epithelium. So actually columnar epithelium is actually present in the endocervix, and as we know that the cells actually lie above the basement membrane, and the nucleus in the columnar epithelium, the nucleus lie near to the basement membrane. So this is actually the endocervix. Okay, next is the transformation zone. In the transformation zone, you will see the stratified squamous epithelium. But just keep one thing in your mind, that the stratified squamous epithelium comes from the columnar epithelium. It means columnar epithelium change into the stratified squamous epithelium in the transformation zone. This is very much important. In the transformation zone, you will see the columnar epithelium convert a stratified squamous epithelium. This point is very much important in the transformation zone, and the transformation zone is not always present. It will appear in just few conditions. Okay, another most important thing in the transformation zone, that zone is the origin. Mostly in cases, this is the origins of the cancer. So in this case, you can see the dysplasia, and the dysplasia is the precancerous state. It can go towards the cancer. Dysplasia, when the cell starts changing. Next is the carcinoma in situ, in which the cells do not penetrate the basement membrane. That is called the carcinoma in situ. And in the invasive carcinoma, the cells starts penetrating into the basement membrane or goes beneath the basement membrane. Okay, so these are basically the three conditions you can see in the transformation zone. Next is the exocervix, that is actually present outside. So in the exocervix, you again see the most important stratified squamous epithelium in the exocervix. So these are basically the different parts of the cervix. Okay, if you see the secretion, in the secretion you will see mostly scanty and watery secretion, but do not always watery. It can become viscous as well. So actually cervical glands actually present in the cervix. So in the mostly the racemose gland. So racemose type is racemose actually look like this way. Okay, now if you see, just like the racemose structure, here is the racemose like structures of the cervical gland. Okay, here is the racemose type gland in the cervix, and you will see mostly this cell will be columnar epithelium in this gland, and the secretions goes into the cervix. So actually secretion actually release into the cervix. So here is the structures of the gland that is actually present in the cervix, and these secrete the mucus and the alkaline mucus, and the pH will be 7.8. So if you see what actually the compositions of the mucus, you can see the fructose, you can see the glycoprotein, you can see the mucopolysaccharide, and also NaCl. So actually fructose is very much helpful and provide nutrient to the sperms that actually comes from the vagina. From the vagina, sperms move and enter into the ultimately uterus, and ultimately goes to the fallopian tube where they get attached to the eggs. So nutrients actually provided by the secretion, cervical secretion. Glycoprotein is very much important and provide the path to the sperm. Actually glycoproteins form parallel texture, and parallel texture provides sperms a pathway, and sperms can easily move to the uterus and ultimately into the fallopian tubes and goes towards the egg. So that is glycoproteins is also very much important. Okay, and next very much important thing is the reserve cell. This point is very much important. Reserve cell actually present beneath the columnar epithelium. So as you see here, as we discussed in the endocervix, you will see the columnar epithelium. Actually columnar epithelium actually present in this way, and in some situation in the patches form you will see the reserve cells. Reserve cell actually comes towards the surface and form the columnar epithelium. But in some situation, these reserve cells can form the squamous epithelium as well. This is the reserve cell. Okay. Next, if you see the mucus plug, that is very much important. In the pregnancy, in the early pregnancy, you will see that the cervical canal closed with the mucus. So actually here is the opening, that is the external opening. Sometime in the pregnancy you will see that these opening close with the mucus. So actually in the pregnancy, actually the infant is growing in the womb. So actually there is a low chances of the spreading of infection toward the infant. And this is very much important, that is actually with the help of the mucus plug. Mucus plug prevent the spreading of the infection from the vagina into the uterus. So actually it will help or it will save the child from the different infection. And during the birth it has to be open, mucus plug has to be open so that the baby can easily deliver from the birth canal. So that is the mucus plug. So if we discuss the different endocervix, transformation zone and exocervix in different situation. In the before the puberty, you will see here is the columnar epithelium, and outside you will see the stratified squamous epithelium. There is no transformation zone before puberty. You will just see columnar epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium. But when you see the estrogen level starts increasing, then what will happen? So again you will see the columnar epithelium zone, and in this case you will see the columnar epithelium starts moving outside. Here is the outside, and outside you will see the stratified squamous epithelium. Here is the difference. Before puberty, columnar epithelium lies inside, but when the estrogen level increases, columnar epithelium starts moving outward in the vagina portion. Okay, and in the reproductive region you will see the transformation zone. Again in this case you will see the columnar epithelium, okay, and outside you will see the stratified squamous epithelium, and you will see the region of the transformation zone. So actually in the transformation zone, this is again you will see the stratified squamous epithelium, because just keep one thing in remember, stratified actually columnar epithelium change into the stratified squamous epithelium in the transformation zone, and you see in the reproductive period you will see the transformation zone. Another most important thing that is very much important. So if you see that here is the columnar, in the transformation zone you will see the stratified. So here is a junction at this point. Here is the point. Above you will see the columnar, next is the stratified. So here is a junction that is called squamo-columnar junction. But at the outside, here is the case, at the outside you see the stratified squamous epithelium, and in the transformation zone you again see this stratified. So that is called squamo junction, squamous junction. So this is very much important. Again in the menopause you will see the transformation zone will form inside the cervix. So again you will see upper region will be the columnar epithelium, okay, that is the transformation zone, stratified squamous epithelium, and last portion will be the stratified squamous epithelium. This is very much important. So you will see junction and the zone is different thing. Zone is actually present between two junctions. So here you can also see that again you see this junction squamo-columnar junction. Again you see this junction, that is again squamo-columnar junction. So actually junction actually present in all situations, but the transformation zone is just present in the reproductive and the menopause case. So this is all about the cervix. If you still have any question, you may ask in the comment section. Thank you so much.